Chapter 4 of the Countess of Charny by Alexandre Dumas, translated by Henry L. Williams. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. The Foes Face to Face. While the queen was looking from the palace to see the Austrians coming, another was watching in her little reception rooms. One was revolution embodied, the other its opponents intensified. That was Madame Roland, this the queen from Austria. The real war at this period was between this pair. A singular thing. Both had such influence over their husbands as to lead them to death, although by different roads. Dumouriez had thrown a sop to the Jacobins without knowing who the Colonel Servan was whom he took for Minister of War. He was a favorite of Madame Roland. Like all the Girondists of whom she was the light, the fire, the Egeria, he was inspired by that valiant spirit. But he and Roland were neutralized at the council by Dumouriez. They had forced the Royalist Constitutional Guards to disband, but they had merely changed their uniform for that of the Swiss Guards, the sworn defenders of royalty, and swaggered about the streets more insolently than before. Madame Roland suggested that, on the occasion of the July festivals, a camp of 20,000 volunteers should be established in Paris. Servan was to present this as a citizen, apart from his being a minister. In the same way, Roland was to punish the rebellious priests who were preaching from the pulpits that taxpayers would be damned by ordering their exile. Dumouriez supported the volunteer proposition at the council, in the hope that the newcomers would be Jacobins, that is, the Invisibles, by whom neither the Girondists nor the Feuillants would profit. "If your Majesty vetoes it," he said firmly, "instead of the 20,000 authorized, we shall have 40,000 unruly spirits in town, who may with one rush upset Constitution, Assembly, and the throne. Had we been vanquishers... But we must give in. I say, accept." But the queen urged the king to stand firm. As we know, she would rather be lost than be saved by Lafayette. As for the decree against the priests, it was another matter. The king said that he wavered in temporal questions as he judged them with his mind, which was fallible. But he tried religious matters with his conscience, which was infallible. But they could not dispense with Dumouriez at this juncture. "Accept the Volunteer Act," said the queen at last. "Let the camp be at Soissons, where the general says he will gradually draft them off, out of the way, and, well, we will see about the decree aimed at the priests. Dumouriez has your promise, but there must be some way of evading the issue when you are the Jesuits' pupil." Roland, Servan, and Clavière resigned, and the assembly applauded their act as deserving the thanks of the country. Hearing of this, and that Dumouriez was badly compromised, the pupil of Vauguyon agreed to the volunteer camp bill, but pleading conscientious scruples, deferred signing the decree banishing the refractory priests. This made the new ministers wince, and Dumouriez went away sore at heart. The king had almost succeeded in baffling him, the fine diplomatist, sharp politician, and the general whose courage was doubled by intrigue. He found at home the spies' reports that the Invisibles were holding meetings in the working quarters, and openly at Santerre's brewery. He wrote to warn the king, whose answer was, "Do not believe that I can be bullied. My mind is made up." Dumouriez replied, asking for an audience, and requested his successor to be sought for. It was clear that the anti-revolutionist party felt strong. Indeed, they were reckoning on the following forces: the Constitutional Guards, 6,000 strong, disbanded but ready to fly to arms at the first call; 7,000 or 8,000 knights of the Order of St. Louis, whose red ribbon was the rallying token; 3 battalions of Switzers, 1,600 men, picked soldiers unshaken as the old Helvetic rocks. Better than all, Lafayette had written, "Persist, sire. Fortified with the authority the National Assembly has delegated to you, you will find all good citizens on your side." The plan was to gather all the forces at a given signal, seize the cannon of each section of Paris, shut up the Jacobins' clubhouse and the Assembly, add all the royalists in the National Guard, say, a contingent of 15,000 men, and wait for Lafayette, who might march up in 3 days. The misfortune was that the queen would not hear of Lafayette. Lafayette was merely the revolution moderated, and might prolong it and lead to a republic, like that he had brought round in America, while the Jacobins' outrageous rule would sicken the people and could not endure. Oh, had Charny been at hand! But it was not even known where he was, and were it known, it would be too low in abasement for the woman, if not the queen, to have recourse to him. The night passed tumultuously at the palace, where they had the means of defense and attack, but not a hand strong enough to grasp and hurl them. Dumouriez and his colleagues came to resign. They affirmed that they were willing to die for the king, but to do this for the clergy would only precipitate the downfall of the monarchy. "Sire," pleaded Dumouriez, "your conscience is misled. You are beguiled into civil war. Without strength, you must succumb, and history, while sorrowing for you, will blame you for causing the woes of France." "Heaven be my witness that I wished but her happiness." "I do not doubt that, but one must account to the King of Kings not only for purity of intentions, but the enlightened use of intentions. You suppose you are saving religion, but you will destroy it. Your priests will be massacred. Your broken crown will roll in your blood. The queen's, your children's, perhaps. Oh, my king, my king!" Choking, he applied his lips to the royal hand. With perfect serenity and a majesty of which he might not be believed capable, Louis replied, "You are right, General. I expect death, and forgive my murderers beforehand. You have well served me. I esteem you, and am affected by your sympathy. Farewell, sir." With Dumouriez going, royalty had parted with its last stay. The king threw off the mask and stood with uncovered face before the people. Let us see what the people were doing on their side. End of chapter 4, recording by John Van Stan, Savannah, Georgia.